it's a strange universe to inhabit, I have to say. It's not something I'm very comfortable with.
Going back to the beginning, can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and maybe about who your parents are and their background?
There's a sense of displacement that hangs around my father, which is very strong. And he wasn't qualified, and I think he suffered a lot of racial discrimination. He did an awful lot of kind of hard jobs when I was a kid. My mother is of some sort of Irish descent, but very, very, kind of white British. I'm not altogether sure how they met. I mean, it was, they were around Hampshire, and I think it was literally the local Sunday school or youth club or something. Yeah, my parents it's like a period drama. It's like this kind of old setting. You imagine those kind of. It's like you get in America. You get those kind of homely communities, and the boy and the girl meet at church on Sunday, and and they're sweethearts. They start going out together. I think it's a bit like that, It's like we didn't really know any other Chinese people when I was growing up. I mean, the ones you would see were either working in takeaways, or they were quite kind of middle class, model minority-ish, and didn't feel like kind of related to either of them really. It felt like my dad was very much kind of like a worker. He was very much working class and manual worker. Even though later on, as I got older, he kind of took this photography course, became a self-employed photographer, which is some achievement really. We moved a lot when I was kids. He was always trying to move, get new jobs, find ways to earn money. We would like move to one place for like 6 months, move again, totally displaced, totally kind of alienated, and like I say, always the chink, at school, always the Chinese kid, always stood up, sort of thumb. When I was at school, I was the Chinese kid. I don't think, up until the age of about 15, I don't remember kids at school ever calling me by my name. I was always China, Ching Chong, Bruce, Kung Fu, Kane, Kato, Dano from Y50, Fu Manchu. Don't remember anyone calling me by my name. That's what I was. I suppose it's the one that sticks. It's a bit like the N-word with black people, which, it's terrible. You're allowed to say chink. You can't say N-word. More than anything else, and I think because it's a dehumanising term, it completely kind of like, and it's abusive. It's abusive. It's based on nothing but your race. And we moved a lot when I was kids. He was always trying to move, get new jobs, find ways to earn money. We would like move to one place for like 6 months, move again, totally displaced, totally kind of alienated, and like I say, always the chink, at school, always the Chinese kid, always stood up, sort of thumb. I can remember my mother taking me and my brother to a new school, and she walked us through the playground at lunchtime. The whole playground went silent. It was like, like in the Western, when the stranger walks into the bar, and the piano player stopped. It was like that. It was like that. And we were coming through the playground. My mother had us both like that, and you could see these kids going, "It's two Chinese kids, two Chinese kids." It was quite terrifying and lonely. It felt. Me and my brother were getting a lot of fights at school, and I would get really angry, and I'd throw chairs around and attack people and stuff like that because I was getting called a chink all day. And I got taken to see the headmaster. I got taken to see different teachers. I got taken to a child psychologist. He medicated me. And my mother and father were very much like, you need to ignore them. You need to, you need to not take any notice. And that was very much. This is the 70s, and it was very much the prevalent mood of the time was you're not really supposed to complain about racial abuse, basically. I remember the abiding image in my head at that time was red-faced white adults saying to me, "You need to learn to stop reacting when people are calling you a chink," which it was absolutely bizarre. I struggled to contain anger at that sentiment. It's just ridiculous, frankly, and you would turn on the TV and that's what it was. You'd see programs like Mind Your Language, what's the one about the neighbour, the black neighbour? I mean, the whole thing, it was just like off the scale kind of racist abuse on the TV all day, and I mean, it's easy for me to blame my parents, but they were living in the world at that time, and they were trying to get me through it with no rule book, and get us through it, and with no, like I say, when that's the message you're getting, you just have to deal with the fact that you're different from everyone else, and everyone's going to call you a chink. You just have to deal with that. But it was quite interesting. I mean, I think by far the most upsetting thing any kid ever said to me was when we were having a lesson in class, and the teacher said, "Yeah, the nationality is the country you're born in. The race is what your parent is, what your father is." So this kid suddenly turned around and went, "Yeah, so Daniel, he's not English." And the teacher suddenly got really kind of like blushed. He is. No, he's not English. He's not English. It was kind of like, and everyone's looking at me, and yeah, it was like I say, it was a difficult world, and if you weren't, I think if you have money and power, you can kind of ride over any of those things. But if you're a normal kind of working class family, there's just no way around it. And I got told to kind of get over it, ignore it an awful lot, and you need to accept it, which I think is unacceptable, really, in all honesty. Then from about 15, 16, it kind of like, I blended in a lot more, and I didn't really think about it until I became an actor, and it absolutely slapped me in the face.